If heartbreak had a sound, it would be the echo of my own laughter, the laughter I had shared with him, the laughter that masked my oblivion. How could I have been so blind? How could I have let myself fall so deeply into a lie? As I stood at the airport gate, my fingers trembling around the envelope in my hands, I realized the bitter truth. The man I had given my heart to had only been using me. And now I had the proof. Looking back, the signs had been there. But love has a funny way of blinding you, making you see what you want to see. I met Luis at a charity gala in Miami, where his charming accent and piercing hazel eyes made me weak in the knees. He was a software engineer from Argentina, or so he claimed. Handsome, cultured, and with an irresistible mystery about him. He swept me off my feet faster than I could blink. Our romance was a whirlwind. He moved into my apartment within months, whispering sweet promises of forever. I, a successful event planner, had always been cautious with love. But Luis made me believe in fairy tales again. He spoke of our future, of building a life together, of children with his curls and my eyes. And then, one evening over candlelight, he proposed. I was over the moon. But little did I know, my dream would soon morph into a nightmare. The first red flag came subtly, almost too subtly. Luis never seemed interested in wedding planning. When I picked out venues, he shrugged. When I discussed guest lists, he was indifferent. But when the topic of a spousal visa came up, his eyes gleamed with something I couldn't quite place at the time. Then his urgent need for marriage arose. "My visa is expiring, mi amor," he said one night, tracing circles on my palm. "I cannot bear the thought of being away from you. Let's not waste time. Let's get married next month." I was flattered. I mistook urgency for passion. My best friend Claire, however, wasn't as easily fooled. "Don't you think it's weird, Maya?" she asked, arms crossed as she sipped her margarita. "The guy's pushing too hard for a wedding. Are you sure he loves you and not just the green card?" I laughed her concerns off, but a tiny seed of doubt had been planted, and soon it would grow into something I could no longer ignore. Days before our courthouse wedding, Luis started acting suspiciously. He was constantly on his phone, speaking Spanish rapidly before hanging up whenever I walked in. He began leaving the apartment at odd hours, coming home with flimsy excuses. Then came the phone call that shattered everything. A blocked number, a woman's voice. "Is this Maya?" "Yes," I said hesitantly. "You don't know me, but you need to. My name is Valeria. I'm Luis's wife." My breath caught in my throat. "Excuse me?" "Yes, we've been married for 3 years in Argentina, and he's been using you. You're not the first." The world tilted on its axis. My fingers trembled as I gripped the phone. "That's impossible. We're getting married in a few days." A bitter laugh rang through the receiver. "And once he gets his visa, he'll vanish, just like he did to me." I hung up. My stomach twisted in knots. I wanted to confront him, to scream, to demand the truth. But something told me to be patient, to be smart. And that's when I hatched my plan. The morning of our wedding, I played my part perfectly. I acted like the besotted fool he believed me to be. We arrived at the courthouse, hand in hand. Luis grinning like a man who had won the lottery. And then, just as the officiant asked if anyone had objections, I pulled out my phone and played the recording of Valeria's confession. Luis's face drained of color. "You lying snake?" I hissed. "Did you think I wouldn't find out?" The crowd gasped. The judge frowned. And Luis? He bolted. Right there in the courthouse, he ran like a coward, pushing through the doors as if the devil himself was chasing him. But he didn't get far, because waiting outside were 2 immigration officers. Turns out, fraudulent marriage for a visa is a serious crime, and I had made sure the authorities knew exactly who to look for. I thought that was the end of it. I thought I was free. But then, weeks later, I received an anonymous email. It was a video attachment. My hands trembled as I clicked play. It was Luis, sitting in what looked like a dimly lit motel room. His face was bruised, his lips split, and beside him stood a man in a dark suit, gripping his shoulder tightly. "Maya," Luis spoke, his voice hoarse. "You have no idea what you've done." My stomach twisted. The man beside him leaned in, his face partially obscured. "Miss Maya, you cost us a lot of money." I froze. "Us?" Luis's next words made my blood run cold. "I wasn't working alone." The screen went black. My heart pounded as I sat there, unable to move. What had I just witnessed? Who were these people? And more importantly, was I in danger? I had exposed Luis. But now, it seemed, I had made enemies far more dangerous than a lying fiancé. Luis was deported within weeks, but the fear lingered. I changed my locks. I stayed at Claire's for a while. I hired a private investigator to dig into Luis's past, and what I found was chilling. Luis had been part of an organized visa scam, a network that preyed on unsuspecting women like me. Valeria wasn't the only other victim. There were several more. Some had even been threatened into silence. The authorities assured me I was safe, but paranoia became my new shadow. Claire and I went to Argentina that summer, not to look for him, but to reclaim my power. I even met Valeria, who turned out to be just as much a victim as I was. We bonded over heartbreak and tequila, laughing at the ridiculousness of it all. Love had fooled me once, but it wouldn't fool me again. And as I watched the Buenos Aires sunset, I promised myself one thing. The next time I fell in love, it would be with someone who wanted me, not my citizenship.